This is not related to the theme of this episode today, but I want to get your thoughts on. Yeah, we are just talking about it just now. I watched Spider-Man last night.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get your thoughts on something that I feel like 5 years ago, superhero fatigue was something that was brought up the whole time. Every single conversation about like Marvel movies or whatever, people were like, "This trend is dying."
Mm-hmm.
But yesterday, bro, every single screening was packed.
Mm.
And I went to watch it at Westfield,
Mm-hmm.
Shepherd's Bush,
Yeah.
Westfield. So the screening rooms there are huge.
Yeah, a bit.
And every single one, bro. And I know because our seats were broken, so I went down to talk to be like, hey, could we like maybe move somewhere or like get a refund or something? But they were like, no, it's completely sold out. You're gonna have to talk to like a sales representative if you want to get your refund, right?
Yeah.
But completely booked.
Wow.
Which is crazy. I don't know. What do you think about like superhero fatigue?
Well, I think, yeah, like, I feel like people are just tired of the blatantly, like, money grabby, kind of, like, bad superheroes that don't really feel like they have any real, like, motive or reason to be there besides just, like, let's just create a new one, you know? Like, the
Sure.
Supergirl, like, I haven't seen the film, but I've not heard great things, and it feels like it's just another one of those lip servicey ones where they're like, we're creating a woman that's a superhero.
Do you guys know that
You know,
women
did you
could
know
be
that they
like
can
a hero
actually
too?
be like heroes as well, you know? But I think people don't have fatigue over the ones that are like genuinely beloved.
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man is like an iconic figure. Like I loved the comics when I was a kid. Like I was obsessed with the movies, like really liked them. So whenever it's like the only Marvel thing that I will
I was
allow
thinking that
because I always watch the Spider-Man movies and like I'll
like,
always turn up for them. So
it's when you go to see a superhero movie, you want to see the character, right? It's not as much. I
Exactly,
mean, there is a little
yeah.
bit of the performer of it. I
Mhm.
mean, you know, they can be a fan of Tom Holland, right? So you go watch it. But I think for the most part, it's fans of the character.
Exactly.
And it did make me think a little bit about what is the role of a director when it's a movie like that? Because there's a character who is new in the film. I won't give you any spoilers, right?
I think I know who it is though.
I won't say because
Yeah.
also, you know,
Oh, yeah.
for our viewers. But there's a character who is new, surrounded by characters who have been actors who have been playing those characters for years.
Mhm.
And that performance is the weakest in the entire film.
Really?
It's not bad, but it's
Really?
what is it what?
Oh, okay.
It's
Interesting.
it's Ron Perlman. He plays Supergirl.
No.
No, it's a new character.
Troll.
New character.
Okay, right.
And it's from an actor that you know to be good.
Okay.
Stop trying to guess.
Just tell me afterwards.
Yeah. Do you want like a real life spoiler?
Yeah, kind of.
We'll cut it out.
Like,
And their performance at the beginning of the movie is a bit tough. It's like, who are you? Like, why are you here? And part of it is like, I feel like they were let down by the director because they were allowing these like
yeah,
this performance to happen.
sure.
And I was thinking about all the other characters, all the other actors were really good in the roles, but they've also had years to play these characters.
Yeah.
But anyway, to make a long story short, you have all these actors who've been playing the characters for a long time, and then this newcomer who's like struggling with a new character. And it makes me think this is the same director as Shang-Chi and Wonder Man, so it's like evidently Disney and Marvel really vibe with him.
Yeah.
And I think in that sense, being the director of a film like that has more to do with making sure that creative decisions happen but are also manageable on a film set rather than being a creative lead in the voice, right?
Yeah.
Because specifically with Marvel, I think the biggest creative voice is Kevin Feige, the producer,
For sure.
more so than any actor or director. So the director is there to kind of keep the ship running, and as well as give the actors and the crew a moment in the present of like, oh, we're
100%.
engaged with this, right?
Yeah.
Rather than like be a creative voice.
Definitely.
And I don't know, it just kind of made me think that it's interesting how a director's role can mean different things in different kinds of productions.
100%.
And leaning into what we're going to be talking about today, not only about producers and directors, I just briefly want to know, do you have any brief thoughts to share? I'm going to put you on the spot right now about like film auteur theory.
As in, like, auteurs,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, because in the film school that we went to, we were told that that's not a thing. At least I was told that that's not a valid kind of like approach towards filmmaking, because it kind of strips away the collaborative aspect of it, and it puts the entirety of
One
the film's
person.
quality and virtues, as well as lack of, onto one person instead of like kind of like the system.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think film authorship is like a valid way of looking at films, or is it kind of a myth?
I don't know. I think it's really interesting because I do think that the way that a person directs and leads a group of people, it has a different stamp. It creates a different stamp on the type of film. Like, for example, you look at like Greta Gerwig's films, and she's such a warm person, and like you see all these things about how she conducts herself among the crew, and like everyone wears like badges saying like, my name's Greta, my name's this, and she very much sees herself as like an equal with everyone. And she, on her last film, she wanted to have a credit that said a film made by, and then instead of saying Greta Gerwig, it had everyone who worked on the film. But like she still has like such a distinct voice and style and like tone to her films. And I think I don't know, I don't really buy into it. I think it's largely like, I don't know, it's complicated.
It is. It's definitely complicated. And maybe we should make an entire episode on the idea.
You put me on the spot with the most like complex question. You're like, tell me resolve this debate.
No, it's maybe we can approach it next time or something, because I do think it's very interesting to kind of see it this way.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right in the sense that like a director can have and should have presence in the creative spirit of a film, but to go down in the history books as to be like, oh, that movie was made by Martin Scorsese, without any kind of acknowledgement of anybody else. Obviously it's convenient, right? Because we can't be talking about like, oh, Taxi Driver, the boom operator who was like Mike Oldman, he was really good, you can't practically do that.
But I do think, like, I was listening to this interview recently with Kit Harington, actually, and he said that... I know, it was kind of random. I'm unemployed, okay? And I was listening to this interview, and he said that he likes to think of directing as somebody who casts a fishing net, and it's their job to find the right people and select the best things from the net that are gonna, like, help their vision, basically. So it's their job to be like, to find people, basically, like who's the best production designer who can make this aspect of my film the best, who's the best costume that can make this aspect the best. Isn't that the role of
an executive producer?
Well, that's what I thought. But like that's why I thought it was interesting that he said the director is the person that casts the net and then pulls the best things from the net. And it's interesting in that sense, because it's like, I guess in that way, the auteur theory like lends itself to the idea of like, oh, the director has the vision to find the right people that will execute this like overall vision, and then that becomes like a trademark of them, but the trademark is inherently a build-up of all those people that they selected, but it's like they still selected those people that they thought could enhance their vision and like create it, but it's also belonging to other people. So it's like both. It's complicated. It's like, okay, you selected the right, like, Wes Anderson. Okay, you selected the perfect production designer to execute your style.
Cinematographer,
but
costume designer.
Yeah, but it's still somebody else that contributes to
the film.
Something, So it's both.
And there's also the reality that this is a marketing tool. That it's easy to sell a Wes Anderson film.
Exactly.
When you say that. And to bring it to today's episode, because I promise this was not just random. One of the films that we're going to talk about today is by probably the most marketable auteur working today. I don't know if Quentin Tarantino's still working. He's not invited. He's not here.
He's not got a seat at the table.
So maybe we should get started.
Yeah, let's do it.
And it's my turn to go first.
Do you want to share the theme? Your theme-a-rooski.
So the theme that I brought today, I 100% reverse engineered it from the movie that I knew I wanted to watch and talk about with you.
Yeah, I love when you do that.
So it's kind of like a bit out there, but in the end I think we came up with interesting films that are very different, but also kind of like connect in unexpected ways. So yeah, let's get into it. So timer, go. The film that I chose, well, the theme is brainwashing.
Brainwashing.
Which is so weird and specific.
Very.
Like, brainwashing?
Yeah.
Isn't that something that just happens in, like, sci-fi, and that's it?
Yeah.
Well, we didn't. Neither of us chose sci-fi.
No.
Going back to the auteur thing I was talking about, the film that I chose is the very first Paul Thomas Anderson movie that I ever watched.
Wow, this was your first one?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Inherent Vice.
Yes.
Now, I have lots to say, and I will, but when it comes to plot summary, this is the first time you've seen it.
Yeah.
And I've seen it like 6 times. I love this film. I want to know, can you give us a plot recap of the film?
Do you want me to try?
I've got one, but as a newcomer.
Yeah, okay.
Because the film is very elaborate and confusing on purpose, and there's so much going on that I kind of I miss not knowing what this movie is about, and I kind of want to know what you got from it in terms of story.
Yeah.
For our first viewing.
Well, in terms of story, it's like about a PI, and he's basically like trying to track down his ex-girlfriend, Shasta. Shasta La Vista.
Nice. Let's go.
I don't know why that happened.
Shasta vanishes. Shasta La Vista, baby.
Shasta La Vista. Anyway, so he's trying to track down Shasta, and basically as he does so, Shasta's been in a relationship with this like wealthy property developer, and it's all set in Los Angeles, and it's about this guy played by Joaquin Phoenix, kind of like trying to figure out like where she went, and as he does so, he uncovers all these like weird threads and narratives that all seem to link together, but they also don't, and he's trying to figure out like the meaning of all of them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just about him like interacting with like lots of different characters.
That's
kind of just the film. It's just like a patchwork kaleidoscope that feels like very druggy. Like to me it all felt was like it felt like it was a drug induced like trip. And he's just like speaking to people, and like none of them make sense.
I make fun of you all the time for liking movies about people going into rooms and talking to each other, but this is this movie, and on top of that, none of the conversation makes sense.
None of it.
So yeah. So yeah, I think that's actually a pretty accurate summation of the film. Now I want to tell you what I got from the story after the sixth time that I've seen it and reading the book.
That blows my mind that you've seen it 6 times.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about why in a bit, right? But also, I did read the book, but not for years, so I don't remember that much about the book.
After how many viewings of the film did you read the book?
I wish I knew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but also, I didn't know who Thomas Pynchon was, who wrote the book. So I kind of more read it to be like, where did PTA get this idea?
I see. Yeah, I don't know anything about this kid. I don't.
This kid, bro, legend, absolute legend, Thomas Pynchon. We'll get into that because I actually feel like you would vibe, and also with the movie that you brought. But anyway, so the movie is, as you said, about this investigator called Larry.
Is his name Larry?
His name is Larry.
Shit, I didn't even pick up
his nickname is Doc, so like little twinning.
I was gonna say that's why you chose this movie. It's the only movie where your name is mentioned like every minute.
Well, really, a lot of people like it's not a very uncommon nickname.
I guess.
I say like I'm Doc, and like 8 times out of 10 I get a "What's up, Doc?"
Yeah, that's very. But I don't know if people know where that comes from. Like,
from Looney Tunes.
Is that where it comes from?
Yeah, Bugs Bunny calls that guy "What's up, Doc?"
I thought it came from the Ryan O'Neal film, "What's Up, Doc?"
I mean, there you go. There's many docs. There's many docs. By the way, this has been the most scatterbrained plot summary. It's so perfect, dude. Everything is coming together so good.
It is. It's all lining up.
So it's Larry Doc Sportello gets a random visit from his ex-girlfriend Shasta, saying that Shasta's so good, bro. I should get that tattooed, Shasta La Vista. And she asked for help because of her current partner situationship she thinks is going to go missing. And that kicks off 4 different mysteries. The first one, Mickey going missing, Shasta's boyfriend. The second one, Coy Harlingen, who's a jazz saxophone player. Not jazz, a surf sax player. Top of the list, his wife Hope will have you know. Who goes missing and is reported dead but is not dead. Then you have the Golden Fang, which is initially a ship but later turns out to be a crime syndicate, but also a union of dentists.
Yeah.
And then you have the disappearance of Shasta herself,
Mm-hmm.
who very shortly after Mickey goes missing, she goes missing as well. So you have these four mysteries kind of like happening all at the same time. And as you said, these people waltz into Doc's life, say something, and leave.
Yeah.
Sometimes literally. Like
Mm-hmm.
they'll show up, they'll be like, this is what I gotta say. And then they
Yeah.
go.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's about as much plot as we can kind of like
That's
reasonably
almost, yeah, that's
parse
very
into
succinct. Yeah.
now. And the resolution of this we'll talk about in a bit later. Oh, I guess there's also like a fifth subplot, which is that throughout the whole film, Doc is being chased by Bigfoot, who is
Yeah.
a police LAPD, and they have kind of like a rivalry, sibling rivalry thing where they have like this need for each other, but this absolute just like hatred for each other and what their life represents.
Which is
So,
very funny.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Josh,
that
Josh
relationship.
Brolin, an amazing performance from him.
Yeah.
And actually, that's kind of about my time. But before kind of handing the mic over to you, I
Mm.
guess I just want to say that just off the bat, my favorite thing about this film
Mm.
is that I think you can agree it's a very complicated story to put on film,
Yeah.
because the book is even more meandering than the movie. But you can kind of like accept that because you can have different reading sessions, you can have different characters, and like things can be narrated in a way where things can disappear for a while and then come back and be introduced in a way that's quite smooth, whereas in film that's not necessarily the easiest thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But to have all of these different characters, some who show up for one time, some who show up for two times, acting completely different both times,
Mm-hmm.
and some who have basically no character to them. My favorite character is Dinas, who rhymes with penis, stated in the book,
Mm-hmm.
who is his like little sidekick friend with the long hair.
Yeah. He shows up the wheel and he's like,
Yeah, I don't know how to drive.
yeah.
He shows up for nothing. Like he doesn't have a character. There's nothing to him.
Yeah,
But
no.
every single performance, whether they mumble or monologue, fits so well into the film.
Yeah.
It is an absolute triumph of actor directing
Mm-hmm.
from Paul Thomas Anderson, because every performance fits.
Yep.
That's crazy
Crazy.
to me. It's
Yeah.
wild. Give it a watch, and even if you like skip around and go back and forth and not really focus on the film, the entire universe feels cohesive.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. I will say that that was one thing I really loved, just seeing the performances that he got out of each of those actors, and they're also eclectic and unexpected, like Martin Short, and then you have like Sasha Peters, who was like Alison De Laurentiis in Pretty Little Liars.
I found that out yesterday.
How the hell is she in that movie? And she's so good.
Playing
like,
this unhinged character. Is she like that in
teenager.
Pretty Little Liars? Like, is her
kind
character like
of,
that?
But like, she's way more put together in Pretty Little Liars. Like,
I
she's
see.
like the popular like high school girl.
Yeah, she plays a character called Japonica, which
Japonica is a crazy name.
and
Yeah.
and she's the most unhinged girl who has ever
I
been
loved her.
unhinged.
Yeah.
She's insane. She's so good. I wish she was more in the movie. I wish
Yeah.
that's the thing. The performances are so good. I wish there was more Martin Short. I wish there was
Yeah.
more Japonica.
Sasha, yeah.
I wish there was more Shasta.
Yeah.
Oh my god, so good.
Yeah. Benicio del Toro is also.
And the scene,
Yeah.
oh my god, I really need to hand it off to you now. But the scene where Doc finally finds Mickey,
Yeah.
and they have a little conversation. That's not in the book. They wrote that for the movie.
Mm.
So even that little like 8-line exchange between them,
Mm.
so good,
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was listening to an interview of Catherine Waterston,
Okay.
who plays Shasta.
Yeah.
And she's more of a theater girly. That's just what she enjoys more.
I was gonna say I've not really seen her in like.
This is the first time I saw her in a film. She's done other stuff, but
Okay.
this is the first time I saw her in a film, and she also played a role in a renowned franchise, Fantastic Beasts.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Renowned. is a strong
She
word.
spoke up against J.K. Rowling, and in the subsequent films, her character was made less of a prominent feature, and she's not on the posters.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. They kept Johnny Depp on the posters and they took her off of that. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Anyway, so she was talking about how like what drew her to the film is that the performances, being able to like share a film with so many people. She specifically called out Martin Short, how she wished that she could share a scene with him, but at least in the film they're kind of like together.
Mm.
It's crazy because also PTA will choose actors who maybe have nothing like seemingly.
Mm.
Like there's this interview with Vicky Creeps who played Alma in Phantom Thread,
Yeah.
and she said that she hadn't heard of him before, and that she was invited to audition, and she did. And throughout the film, she had very little faith in the film. She was like,
Mm.
"Okay, I guess this is what we're
It's
doing."
in your
And then
hands.
when she saw the film, she was like, "Oh, it worked,"
Mm.
which is
That's
insane.
crazy.
That's so cool.
That's crazy that like a working actress didn't know who PTA was.
I think
Like,
she's just
kind of
blindingly
wild.
European.
Okay, fair, fair. I'll allow it. Yeah.
Power to her. Anyway, more about Inherent Vice after we talk about your
Yeah.
film.
Mm-hmm.
Ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Bazinga.
So the film that I chose for today is The Assistant, directed by Kitty Green. This came out in like 2019, and I consider it to be the only
movie. Period.
the only like movie period that's like actually successful about portraying like real nuances of the Me Too movement.
Sure.
Ripped the Me Too movement. It was fun while it lasted. That thing is dead and busted. But this is the only film that is like actually.
Let's put a pin on Me Too because I want to talk about it later. But yeah.
So this is oh my god, like stunningly written film. It is so smart. I will say that I think it's similar to Inherent Vice in that you see different things each time you watch it. I've seen it like twice now, and I picked up on so many more things this time round. But it's basically a day in the life of an assistant who works for a very powerful executive at this like film kind of production company. And it's about all the like habits and rituals and routines of day-to-day life around the office that have been constructed to conceal the very, very bad behavior of the top boss of the company. And it's about his like wrath of like fear and terror that like reigns over the entire office. And basically about how all the stress and anxiety of the office lands on the shoulders of one woman, the person who's at the lowest paid position in the company, the assistant. And it's kind of about how just like how shit that role is and how much you have to deal with and how little respect you gain for it, and about the film industry itself and how.
But also about sorry to interrupt, but just like low key about the secret power that she has, or that in the way that she's expected to uphold certain things.
Yeah,
More
exactly.
on that. More on that in a bit.
Yeah, more on that. It's very much about the way that the entire industry is constructed around like enabling the people that have power, and it's about the kind of power that gives everybody in a way, and all the power that it takes away. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to go too much into it now, but I will say that it really made me think of like things like the BBC when like the Russell Brand scandal happened and like Jimmy Savile and everything. And it's like everyone at the BBC was like, we didn't know about it, we didn't know it was going on. It's like, no, everybody knew. Because
and
like,
Jared Leto right now.
Right now, yeah. Obviously Harvey Weinstein, but like all these people that are like, I had no idea. It's like when you watch a film like this, it's like, no, everybody knows, because when people are that powerful and they're doing things on such a large scale, the entire operations of the company start to like evolve around protecting that and allowing that to happen. Like, and through this film, you really see the everyday like routines that have literally been built to allow those people to behave in that way. Like, it's literally part of their job, where it's like, oh, every day we do this and we pick up the mess from when he did this, and we tidy up the mess when he did this, and we know not to ask questions, but we all know it's happening, and like it's just part of the job and it's ingrained into it. And like,
and how everyone profits from it a little bit. Sorry, not to interrupt, but how the other like lower level producers kind of like want to keep their jobs.
Yeah.
So for them, it's more beneficial to
not say anything.
Have just enough information to have plausible deniability.
Yeah.
But not too much so that they get too involved.
Implicated.
They're just like, oh, this is happening. Okay, well, let's look that way.
Turn a blind eye so I can move forward in my career. Yeah. Yeah, and it's just, I don't know, I think watching it this time around was funny because, like, I don't know if I did tell you this. I quit a job recently as a personal assistant to somebody who was, like, nowhere near on this level. But, like, I've had other jobs where I've been around, like, powerful people
I thought a lot
who
about
have,
you.
like, problematic behaviors and, like, ways of working. And, like, the anxiety that I felt in my heart of, like, taking me back to old jobs where, like, it revolves around, like, your silence in certain things and, like...
Rough.
I don't know, it's just, like, it's so horrible, it's so disgusting, it makes me so angry that, like, the film industry just ruins dreams. You know, like, people could have dreams of being directors and actors, and like the character in this film, Jane, she wants to be a producer, and like it relies on your desperation for a dream and the fear over it not happening, and it contorts it into something so ugly and disgusting and like wrong. And like, watching this film, it just really highlights how, I don't know, how nobody's really innocent in this industry unless you walk out of it, unless you quit, unless you fully detach yourself from it. Nobody's innocent because everybody is aware of people that behave this way and are complicit in it in some way. And it's kind of really sad to see the ending of the film and this character is kind of grappling with her own like part in this system.
Yeah.
And like inability to do anything.
I want to talk about the ending in a little bit. But I actually want to pick up on something you said, but I don't know if you're still on your timer.
I'm done. I'm done. Yeah.
So I briefly want to talk about something that we were just saying about Inherent Vice. I also think is entirely the case in The Assistant, in the sense that the way that every single actor has been directed, everyone feels like they're in the same universe. Everyone, whether they're newcomers or they're old timers or they have a lot of information or just a little bit, everyone fits in very well. I think it's also an incredible work directing from what's her name? Kitty
Green.
Kitty Green. Incredible job directing from her as well. But yeah, I want to talk about the ending, but let's talk about that in a little bit because it's quite, big ideas or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess which one should we talk about first?
I kind of want to talk about Inherent Vice.
Inherent Vice?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So tell me your thoughts. No, actually, I want to talk about... Screw that. I want to talk about The Assistant first because I feel like we're going to kind of like agree and then move past relatively quickly.
Yeah.
You know me, I love like little technical, like amazing things.
Yeah.
And in this movie, in The Assistant, the sound design, unmatched.
Let's talk about it.
So good. There's
good.
So many like dialogue and like the phone and the typing and the props and everything. The world sounds so real.
It just sounds like being in an office and you're always like overstimulated by the fact that you can hear what everyone is doing. Like, even when she's having a conversation, you can still hear another conversation happening. And
there's sometimes a tension of like this attractive actor or performer walked into his office and the door was closed, and then she's wondering what is happening on the other side, and the conversation is mixed perfectly because you can hear that they're talking and that they're laughing a little bit, but you cannot make at all the tone, what they're saying, what they're doing. Like, you could generally be like, what if he's on top of her?
Yeah.
Generally. It's so good. The sound design in this movie, fantastic.
Yeah. So oppressive. And because there's like no score. There's like a tiny bit of music at the end.
Yeah.
But like it's just so like flat, and like it just feels like it's like coming on top of you, because it's just so much happening.
And the cinematography as well. Really, really good. It's not flashy at all.
No. It's
quite like straightforward, but in its simplicity, it kind of hides how good it is.
Yeah.
Because the shots are just really well constructed. We're far enough when we need context. We're very close when she kind of retreats into herself. When she picks up a phone call and suddenly her entire world is in the like hanging by the balance of what is being said to her on the phone. Though the camera appropriately closes in enough. It's so good. And also her performance is just really...
It's insane.
Really, really good.
Yeah. But I really like the direction, the attention to detail in this film. So there's a few things that I just noticed this time around that I just want to like highlight and talk about with you.
Tell us.
One thing, super random, the scene with the HR rep, right? Horrible scene.
Yeah.
Immaculately acted.
Tiny bit of context. Towards the middle of the scene, towards the middle of the movie, she approaches HR, which exists in an entirely different building, which is crazy, like subtle about like how it works. Anyway, and she has some ideas about what might be happening, what this guy might be doing. So she approaches HR, and HR completely like gaslights her,
bulldozes her,
brainwashes into kind of like doubting what she's thinking and talk her down from raising a complaint.
Yeah. Exactly.
Cool.
And during that scene, something I thought was so genius, towards like the end of the conversation where he's basically convincing her not to do it and she's very upset and she's like hiding it pretty well though. there's a box of tissues that he pushes towards her across the table, and it's a metal box of tissues, so the like it's like scrapes across the desk, and I was like, wow, that is a genius like production design, like
Yeah.
you know, like element to like this
Sure
idea of
is.
like he's pretending to show care, but it's like this fucking like scratchy sound of
Yeah.
metal scraping across the desk to get to her, and it's just like, oh my god.
His performance is so good.
Incredible, yeah. He's so Matthew McFadden,
Yeah.
beautiful in that scene. Everything, like from when she first enters and he's like typing away on his phone, and then he's like, how are you doing? You know?
Yeah. What's up?
It's
Take your coat off.
Yeah, like you look, you know, try and relax. So I thought that was great. Also, like there's so many like micro kind of like writing moments that really brilliantly capture the dynamic and her position in the office. Like one of them really early on, she goes into the cupboard to make her cup of coffee in the morning, and her mug is at the back, and it's the only mug that's like a colourful mug, and all of the other ones are white, and then she like has to take it from the back and then push all the other ones back to the front, you know, and it's like all these small moments that show like how her role is like to prop up, you know, everyone else.
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't notice that.
Things
That's
like
wild.
that, yeah. And there's like another moment where she's in the staff room and she's washing up the plates that she's just used for lunch, and then these other women walk in. They don't acknowledge her in any way. They don't say hi or anything. And then this woman just like leaves her mug on the counter next to the things that she's washing
Very subtle.
up.
Just like, oh,
Very subtle.
here we go.
Oh, we just touched.
It was electric.
Yeah. And she just puts the mug there, and then like Jane just kind of looks over, and then she washes it, and it's just that like she's not acknowledged. They don't say thank you. They don't say can you wash it up. She's just like invisible.
Yeah.
Another moment as well.
There's also, sorry, just to go off exactly on that. There's like someone in the office who seems to be kind of like an ally to her.
Mm-hmm.
This other guy who like works a little bit higher up in that desk.
Yeah.
But even though he's never rude to her or mean to her or like does anything questionable, I think he's all right as far as people can be in that setting. Every time he talks to her, she talks to him, it's like it's an inconvenience for him. Mm-hmm. He's like, what now?
Yeah.
Even though he's on her side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. And he's the one that's like the kindest to her, even though he's showing her like the bare minimum like kindness. It's insane. And one other thing that I wanted to it made me think of something that happened that was the same to me when I worked in a similar-ish role. But it's like she's tidying up her boss's office. Also, genius decision that you never see the boss himself.
Nope. You never see the boss. You never hear the name of the company.
No, you just hear his voice. But you never see him, and like he's just this like omnipresent like stress that's like hanging.
I read in an interview that was the Kitty Green chose it to be that way because she didn't want it to be like, oh, it's about this bad apple, it's about this bad producer. She wanted to highlight how it's the system itself, which is bad, but
so genius, like so smart. But there's one scene where she's tidying up his office, and there's like a bunch of donuts and like mess on the table, and then she like picks up one of the donuts and she puts it in her mouth, and she's like eating like while she's like working and tidying up, and then these like two men walk into the office, and they just like stare at her with this look of like absolute disgust and disdain of like, oh my god, like you're eating a donut, like it almost like, oh, that's so unprofessional, like
she's got like a bin in her hand,
and she's like holding the trash, and she's got the donut in her mouth, and then she sees them and she just like takes the donut in her mouth and she walks towards the door to leave, and then they just don't move and they just stand there like blocking away, like looking at her like she's literal dirt, and then she eventually like she's like, can you move, you know? It's like, excuse me, and then they like move the tiniest bit, and she has to like
elbow
push her way through.
Bro,
and it's just like
crazy.
It's horrible. Like you get these like really small moments to yourself when you're in a job like that, where you get to like look after yourself a bit, because like as an assistant, like your job is to look after everyone and make everyone's lives comfortable, but nobody gives a shit about you. Like nobody's being like, oh, what do you want for lunch, or like,
bro, she gets handed some children
break. Yeah,
she literally gets handed like, oh, take care of these children,
take care of these kids.
Why?
Yeah, exactly. And like whenever it's like any single task, like her role as an assistant is again like inseparable from her gender. It's very much like, you're a woman, so you take care of the kids, even though that's not in your
even
role.
though there's other two male assistants.
It's like,
really
that's
job.
on you. And whenever like the big boss's wife calls, the other guy in the office is always like, oh, can you take it, can you talk to her? She's literally like, why me, you know? And he just kind of looks at her like, because you're a woman, you know?
Yikes.
And I just thought like there's so many small moments like that are just so genius, and they really like layer to create this like feeling of what it is like to be the least respected and like person in the office that kind of holds everything together, but you're literally invisible.
Yeah.
And no one cares about you, but also like everything depends on your function and you doing your job. Like she has like really important tasks. Like she has to manage her boss's medication and like put all his like pills in this like drink.
She
and like
scrounges through his bin to find the needles and dispose of them properly.
Yeah,
with no gloves.
She's literally disposing of his like dirty needles. Yeah, and like there's no recognition for that, you know. She's essentially just
she makes sure his immediate team get fed. Nobody says thank you. Nope.
Nobody acknowledges her.
That's rough, dude.
People never really look at her in the eye as well. Like she'll be talking to people and they're like typing and like and it's just so just one of genius directing choices.
Really, really good.
It's just so well made.
This is gonna be a chonker of an episode, bro.
I'm so excited,
but now that we've spoken about Assistant, tell me your thoughts on Inherent Vice.
Okay, so mostly I just have questions for you.
Okay.
I really just have questions because
such as why,
and
how,
what happened. Like genuinely, I watched it and I felt like for the first like hour and a half I was like really immersed and I was like really enjoying it, and I love how textured this film is. Like I think it's like it shows a lot of skill from PTA that he's able to make this world feel so real, even though like there's nothing super distinct about his like visual choices. It's like it's pretty much like it's a lot of like medium close and then they like kind of crop in, you know, like that, and like but it's very like very measured and very controlled and like very specific, and it's like it all creates this like really textured like world, and I was like so immersed in that. But by the end I was waiting for the moment where it would click and everything would come together and I'd be like, I get it, I see what this is about.
Golly.
Yeah, I think I figured it out. But then by the very end I just left it in an even bigger state of confusion. Like it ended in a way where I was like, I have no idea what this is about. And then like I was reading about it and people being like, that's why it's great, because you don't know what's happening. And I was like, I guess, but also like, what? Like I was still so confused.
And I think there's many reasons why PTA was attracted to that, and in some ways he elevated it. Right? So, oh gosh, I don't even know where to start, but I'm gonna say you have all these mysteries. As I said, there's like basically 4 or 5-ish kind of like main questions, and some of them do get like tied up nicely. Like Coy Harlingen's story does get tied up. Bigfoot's mystery does get tied up. Shasta's doesn't. Mickey kind of, and the other one I forget. The Golden Fang. That one kind of gets explained. You kind of learn to accept that there's more out there. But to answer your question a little bit, I need to give you a little bit of context as to why I like this movie so much.
Yes. Please.
And I'm just going to talk about my life a little bit, if that's okay with the viewer, if it bundles your grundle, if it tickles your pickle. So have you ever, would you ever describe any aspect of your life, any era of yours as like a stoner phase, as like a stoner era?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, where you were like habitually smoking.
Oh no, I've never habitually smoked, but I feel like I've had habits that reflect kind of stoner behavior.
Sure. There was a time in my life where I was just stoned, blazed, zooted all the time, literally all the time. I would be like, wake, go to the shower, have food, zoned out the whole time. It was super zonked, and the feeling that I had in real life interacting with people felt like what this movie feels like. So I would go to like a film production and I would just kind of like find my way working there even though I wasn't employed. So I would just kind of like go and meet these people and have these like crazy stories which from a sober perspective are actually quite understandable and like easy to see, but from a stoned perspective I was like, I don't even know how I got here, let alone how like any of this is happening. And I'm meeting all of these really interesting and charismatic people, and I'm just like kind of like a passenger through it. So in that way, I feel like the movie really spoke to me in the sense of like, oh, this is what my life feels like at this time, which that's kind of like number one, right?
Yeah.
Now, number two, the ending of Inherent Vice, it has all of these mysteries, right? And what decade would you say it takes place in? Like 70s?
70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul Thomas Anderson's protagonists. I have to really evaluate that now that we've got one battle after another.
Mm.
But most of his protagonists are people who have been left behind by time.
Mm.
So the master, Joaquin Phoenix's character, was lived for the war, and then he was just like set adrift into the world.
Mm.
The world that he knew is no longer there. You've got Woodcock. What's his name? His first name? Reynolds? No. Dustin? No.
Oh, what's his name? I was going to say Johnny. It's not Johnny.
Yeah. Whatever.
Mr. Woodcock.
Yeah, the fashion designer of Phantom Thread.
Mm-hmm.
He is like what do you call like couture? Yeah, he's like a couture designer.
Yeah.
And he is suddenly facing a world where people are starting to prefer mass-produced chic instead of like handmade artistry.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of his, and I could go on and on, but a lot of his characters are people who have been left behind by the system. Doc is one of those cases, mm-hmm. because this is the 70s, and he's still very much living in the 60s, where there was this like social promise of free love, mm-hmm. and like no people being zooted all the time.
He's a hippie.
He's a hippie, and having no consequences for it, right? Like it's okay to be those things, or at least that's what Doc thinks, right? And then he's suddenly faced in a world where the world has kind of moved on. The promise of free love has been left behind. The idea of like a social system different to capitalism that allowed for more connection between people and kind of like a more equal access to resources, completely just like distant memory. Capitalism is here to stay. Mm-hmm. And I could give you more examples, and I probably will throughout as we go, but it's all of these systems that he used to kind of rely on to make sense of the world have now been co-opted by the big man, by the government. Yeah, I want to talk more about conspiracies in a bit, but all of these things which gave identity and character and personality to his world are gone. So he's left behind and is kind of like set adrift into the world without many of these tethers. Now, in the book, again, spoilers, sorry, the end of the book ends about the same in the sense that once many of those mysteries are wrapped up, he just like drives away. Mm. But in the movie, he's got Shasta with him. Mm-hmm. And I think it's interesting that PTA did that, because I think he shows how the world doesn't make sense, and how when you don't move forward in time, the world that you know is gone and it's left behind. And now, but he makes a change, the explicit change of having Shasta there with you, because for Doc, the world made sense and it was happy to share with her. And now the two of them are like going off into this mystery world, literally surrounded by fog and mist with nothing clear. And I just think like that's kind of like very moving in a way, to be like, yeah, as I said, for me, it's so moving because I have been in a situation for years where the world doesn't really make much sense to you, and you just kind of like accept it to be like, okay, I guess that's what we're doing now. I guess that's what's happening. And I guess finally, the last thing I want to talk about is that I very earnestly see how PTA is earnest in his love for LA. You know, he loves that city, bro. He loves it. You'll see other filmmakers who have like a more complicated like love-hate relationship with it. For example, Damien Chazelle talking about La La Land, Babylon. Yeah. But PTA, I think, even though he's also a bit critical of it, he is just generally so interested in the history and the politics and the development of that city. Part of it is like named explicitly in the film, how Joanna Newsom, who does an excellent job, her character Sortilege, is a character in the film, in the book, but it's much more pulled back. She's just like a character almost like Dinas. But in the movie, she's used as this like narrator. Yeah. And her narration is so good, dude. Yeah. So good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll get back to that. We can go back to that. But she talks about how communities have been displaced to make space for football or baseball pitches, and the development that Mickey does, how it takes away like gentrification, how it takes away communities of people who are in vulnerable positions to make space for luxury apartments and
Mm.
houses and stuff. So he talks about like the development of LA in a very kind of like complicated sense, and I can sense just how important it is to him.
Mm.
And I don't know, it's the same thing with the same way I consume YouTube. Whenever I see a video or something that I may not know about, but if I can get a sense that the person really cares about it, I'm
Mm.
like, okay, let's give this a go. Like let's
Yeah.
listen. And it's so infectious, his love for LA in
Yeah.
this movie. So yeah, many different reasons, but that's kind of like why I kind of like really connect to
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
That's really interesting to hear. Okay, so immediately I've got like a few things that I want to
Tell me,
say,
tell me,
like
tell
a
me.
few scenes that like really stand out to me. That I'd like to talk about with you. One is when he first speaks to Mickey, and
In the little like sanatorium
yeah,
situation. Yeah.
and Mickey says that he has been selling all these houses, and then he realizes that it should all be free. The other scene is when he is finally, spoiler alert, reunited with Shasta for the first time. And it happens in such a blasé way. It's almost just like, oh, she was never gone. She's just like
Yeah.
suddenly back.
Yeah.
And like the whole film has been building up to him finding her. And then he finds her and it's so nothing. And then there's still like half an hour left of the film.
Yeah.
And it's like, that really threw me off. I was like, what? Yeah, so like those two things, like,
So
okay, so like,
oh, yeah, go ahead.
well, I mean, I guess what I did like about the film is like it's full of contradictions that I found really interesting. So like the beginning, like he's watching a news report about Mickey on TV, but we see Bigfoot instead of Mickey. Like
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
PTA is always playing with these like images of like things that are simultaneously true and not true. Like, the scene where he's actually reunited with Shasta for the first time and she's very calmly telling him this story, and then suddenly they're having sex. And then the final thing of the film is like him being like, and she, after they have sex, she says, oh, but that doesn't mean we're back together.
Yeah.
And then the final line, or nearly the final line, is him saying, oh, we're not together though, and they're sitting in the car together. And it's like full of these contradictions. So it's like the film is simultaneously him searching for Shasta, but once he finds Shasta, it's meaningless. Like it's like
Yeah.
it never really needed to happen. It's like he was never really searching for her.
Yeah.
And like what I got from that, like to me, it did feel like a stoner film. The lack of like continuity and all these contradictions, like it did feel like PTA was fucking with us and being like, nothing of is any of this actually happening, or is it just like a really disjointed recollection of one man trying to find out something that's actually really simple, but he accidentally finds himself in something, or spiraling into something that's more complex than it really is.
Yeah.
Like that's what it felt like to me. But like the ending felt really underwhelming to me, which is why it left me with a strange feeling, because I really enjoyed the film as it was building, but then everything after him meeting Shasta felt so strange. And like, I don't know, part of me likes it, but part of me doesn't. Like, I don't know, that interaction that he has with Bigfoot at the end, where Bigfoot comes into his house and he starts eating.
Also an addition for the film.
Yeah, oh, okay. That scene with Bigfoot, I was like, and then when we see like Doc reacting to him and he's got like tears in his eyes and he's like clearly stoned, I was like, okay, so maybe it is going for this like stoner kind of vibe of like maybe none of this is happening. I don't know. I just want to know your take on that.
Well,
like,
I have a lot of thoughts, but I want to get on the ending a little bit, so we can tie it a little bit to the assistant, because the ending, I feel like they almost have the same ending in a way, but we'll get back to that.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole thing with the Golden Fang as a boat, right? Because there's the Golden Fang boat, which is part of the mega syndicate that is the
smuggling.
Golden Fang as a whole. In brief terms, they grow drugs, they smuggle them into the country, they sell them, they make profit off it, and then they also they operate the Skeleton Institute, which is where they get clean, where addicts can get clean, and they also have the dentists so that they can like repair their teeth.
Yeah.
So it's literally like the Golden Fang can can make profit off of every single step of the pleasure-seeking hippie behavior.
Yeah.
And they specifically say that Shasta and Doc worked together because Doc was the only hippie that Shasta knew that didn't do heroin. So like
that's an important distinction. Yeah.
You can see how that affects, like, it's kind of like the Golden Fang has kind of like taken advantage of every single step and has co-opted the pleasure-seeking hedonist surfer hippie vibe into a business that they can exploit at every step.
Yeah, which
So
again, contradictions. It's so funny because it's like, okay, it's both selling drugs, but it's also helping people recover from them, and it's also fixing your teeth. It's like,
yeah,
okay, like,
yeah,
way to be consistent.
which is kind of like people online say that the movie is not a good reflection of the book because it's not zany enough, and I'm like, what are you talking
no,
about?
it's so zany. It's zany
I understand that the
wazoo.
book might be a bit more zany, sure, but come on.
No, that's like the key describing word I would give to the film. You know?
But anyway, yeah, to talk about Shasta and stuff.
Yeah.
So the boat, Golden Fang, yeah. We don't really ever know what actually happens on it. And earlier this morning, I went on a rabbit hole being like, can someone tell me what happens in the boat?
Yeah.
But what we see is, we're going to talk about two characters, Mickey and Shasta.
Mm-hmm.
Mickey, as you said, gains a conscience after so many years of land development to be like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this and people should be living for free.
Mm-hmm.
Shasta, on the other hand, was this complete hippie, free love. Doc specifically describes her as like when they were together, she could go on for weeks with nothing as complicated as a pout. And now, at the beginning of the film, she shows up with a completely like different and complicated set of expressions that he could not read. So we have
very differently.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So what we see before they go onto the boat is Mickey and Shasta have changed into people who maybe are not what the Golden Fang needs them to be. Mickey, his sudden like realization about property development goes against what the capitalist system needs of land developers. They need people who will ruthlessly take homes away so they can build more expensive homes. And Shasta was a consumer who then kind of like grew out of the lifestyle. So they get taken to the boat, and when they come back, it's like they've regressed. Mickey is once again. Mickey actually tells Doc that the Chris Caledon Institute, the Golden Fang, is helping him not be sick anymore. And Shasta, who developed this like sense of self and cognition and right and wrong, when she comes back, it's like she never left. Like she was reset back to square one. So I feel like that plays a little into the kind of like uncertainty of the ending, right? And everything of, as you said, how he goes looking for her, and when he finds her as he used to know her, but now that's incompatible with what he needs from her, which is like a sense of like, what happened? Are you okay? What happened with you and Mickey?
Yeah.
She's just suddenly like, imagine if like your partner, someone you really care about, goes through something really tough, really like defining, and then the next time you see them they're like, no, I'm actually fine.
Yeah.
I don't think about that anymore. And you're like, but this is big, you know? So I feel like that's in a way that but now I wanted to, go ahead.
But about that, what I found so jarring about that scene, I thought it was so interestingly constructed, because for the whole film, Doc comes across as like a guy that doesn't really have any needs of his own.
Yeah.
Like his life is purely like he just drifts about from place to place, and he's purely motivated by helping other people discover truth, or in the search of truth, even if it doesn't exist, and it's contradictory. And staying high. Yeah, those were his only real like needs or function. But then during that scene, he's suddenly overwhelmed by like a very strong like sexual urge, and the two of them, it's like everything about the film is really slow moving, and then suddenly they're having sex, and he's like, it's like he's like suddenly like really like ferocious, and it's kind of like intense. And then the way that scene is shot, I thought was so interesting. She's kind of lying on the sofa, and like the whole conversation, the leather is just like squeaking and everything's like really uncomfortable. And then suddenly it's like really quick. Like, I don't know, to me that felt like something in him was like, it felt like that was a turning point for him. It felt like something in his nature was changing, and like almost as she was like reverting back to this other self before going on the boat, it felt like he was turning into something else through seeing that change in her, because it felt like, I don't know, I can't quite make sense of it, but it just felt really like, it just really stuck out to me because it felt so against his nature as a character.
Yeah.
And then the fact that moment happens when he's reunited with her, and then the film
There's definitely something sinister
I don't know. I thought
going
it was
on.
really sinister,
Yeah.
yeah. And also his line at the end of the film where he's like, "It doesn't mean we're together, though." It's almost like he's become indoctrinated into this way of life. Like he was the hippie, and
Mm,
now after trying to discover the truth or the attempt of searching for it, he's regressed, and now he's become one of these like capitalist, like fast life. He's not
well,
part of the slow hippie life anymore. Like, and it felt like that came in line with Shasta's return. I
I
don't know.
guess
What do you think of
I
it?
don't necessarily agree with that reading, and I want
Yeah.
to. The reason I kind of want to talk about it is I want to talk about the ending of both films, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it ties into this. So, I mean, I've been talking so much. Do you want to talk a little about the ending of um,
Oh,
Assistant?
assistant. Yeah. So the final scene is Jane leaving the office, and she goes to this like diner really close by, and from the diner she can still see the windows of her office, and she calls her parents and her dad because she missed his birthday. And that's like while she's having this conversation, at the very end she kind of looks up at the windows of the office and she sees her the kind of shadow outline of her boss closing the curtains, and it's kind of her realizing that yeah, the thing that she suspected was happening is happening, you know, and
Yeah,
it's kind of like an acknowledgement of that. And then the film like ends with her like leaving and walking down the street. So it's kind of the whole film she's had these suspicions and like knowledge of what's happening, but nobody's like directly confirmed it or explicitly talked about it. It's all just like a whisper, like an
yeah,
atmosphere that hangs everywhere. And then the final image is like her seeing something that it doesn't confirm it, but it just adds to this like smoke and mirrors of like, I
sure.
know this is happening, but nobody wants to acknowledge it, and
Yeah.
like everyone's acting like it doesn't exist. And then she just sleeps and goes about with her evening.
So I want to talk about how they're like basically the same ending. We already spoke a little bit about how at the end of all the mysteries, and after he brings Coy Harlingham back to his wife, Doc and Shasta leave, and we don't really know where they go or what they're looking for. I actually used the final line of the book in the essay that I wrote to get accepted into the film school that we went to.
No
I
way.
don't remember it like by heart, but
Yeah.
the final line goes something like, um, "Doc went to the night" or something much better. It was Thomas Pynchon, right?
Mm.
Um, in search of something which had long since stopped being real.
Mm.
I used that for my essay, which is so
That's
pretentious,
so
bro.
funny.
It got my
I
place
got you
though.
in.
Let's
Yeah.
go. Little
Slay.
did I know, I barely needed to do anything to get in. Anyway, so yeah, they go into the night not really knowing what they need to find, and I feel
Yeah.
like Jane, which by the way, incredible name, like Jane Doe, like literally any woman,
Literally, yeah.
really good.
Yeah, smart.
But she also like walks away into the night, and I feel after having a conversation with her dad and seeing the curtain and all that, and I feel like both characters are put their ending rather than provide resolution presents them with a question of it being like, what part are you gonna have in this?
Hmm.
I feel like Doc is asked like, are you gonna go regress yourself, go back to Shasta, go against this instinct of yours that there's something going wrong? Or are you going to, what you said, kind of like move into the new world,
Mm-hmm.
accept that the hippie lifestyle is dead and gone, and become a
Mm-hmm.
new person? It's up to you to decide. And the
Yeah.
ending, to me, the ending of The Assistant says, like, it presents to Jane the question of, are you going to be complicit?
Yeah. Who
Are
will you become in this system?
Are you going to
Yeah.
be another cog so that you can fulfill your ambition of producing,
Mm-hmm.
or are you going to speak up and potentially lose access to them?
Yeah.
So, in a way, I just find it interesting that both films end with the uncertainty rather than like with a specific objective answer.
Yeah.
I do grant that it's probably a bit more frustrating in her advice because the assistant is not at all framed like a mystery.
No.
It's kind of constructed with some intrigue, but as
Mm-hmm.
the movie goes on, things become more and more clear as to
Yeah.
what's happening.
Yeah. And my one gripe with the assistant's ending is that there's one line that kind of like I think isn't needed. Like when she's in the
She's on the phone with his dad
elevator.
and she goes, "Tits her ass."
Yeah. Yeah. No, when she's in the lift and then one of her colleagues is like, oh, don't worry, she's getting more out of it than he is, you know.
Oh yeah.
I was like, that's not needed. It just felt like that was one more over the edge. For me, that line was just like one too many. It was like too on the nose.
Yeah,
you know, I was like, we don't really need that. But
although, I mean, I guess that's when, as a writer, I guess I have to ask you and ask myself, like, when are you willing to jump the shark? I mean, not that bad, but when are you willing to stretch reality to deliver a gut punch? Because the line hits hard.
I don't know. I felt like it hit less hard because we already had the HR guy being like, "You're not his type." Don't worry.
Oh yeah, that is
for
true.
me. That for me is the gut punch line. You know, that one in the elevator. I was like,
that line did hit me. She's getting more, but you're right. The HR one hit
I think
more.
the HR one is the most powerful one. So for me, I don't know. That's
anyway.
Yeah, but I think the ending of The Assistant, like, it feels a bit more. I don't know, with Inherent Vice, I wasn't left with the feeling of like, oh, who he's going to become. And like, I totally see it and it makes sense hearing it from you. But I was left with this feeling of like complete confusion by the end, because it felt like, okay, so he's kind of helped out like Coy Harlingen, yeah. And he knows
these names, bro.
Too much, I know. Like fucking Japonica and Coy and Shasta. Like,
Japonica,
who
Fenway.
are these people?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like some of the narratives are resolved, some of them are not. And that final shot of them in the car, I was also like, which car are they in? I was like, are they in the back of a police car? Like, because they're both sitting in the back. But they're both sitting in the back, so I was just like...
The first time I watched it, I thought that he had been taken to the Golden Fang. I thought that they were on the boat.
I thought that they were in a police car being carted away to jail. So, like, I don't know, like, there are some things that were so ambiguous about the ending that it didn't almost give me enough space to, like, feel the ending and be like, oh, what's next for him? I was just kind of like, wait, which car are they in? Where are they going? Like, I was just like, oh my god.
Like, guys, I need your Google Maps.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
I need, like, basic information.
you're the Uber driver. You're like, guys, where are we going?
I was literally Googling, like, what's happening in the ending? Like, where are they going? So things like that, but, like, yeah, it does make sense in the sense, LA, he loves LA, and obviously, like, everyone defines the ending of the hippie, like, kind of 60s with the Charles Manson killings of Sharon
Which
Tate,
is brought up and, like, so often in the movie.
It's brought up a lot, and, like, it takes place, like, literally immediately after that, so it makes sense. It's kind of, like, reckoning with this new world. And now that you talk about it, I'm like, yeah, that does make sense if that's what the ending is kind of like. It's like, what is his place going to be in this new world? But watching it, I just didn't get that. I was so bewildered by the last 30 minutes of the movie that I was like, I'm so confused that I can't even grab a hold of that. So for me, like, I don't know, there was some things where I'm like, I get these trying to alienate and confuse the audience, but it almost felt in some points I was like, no, I need a little bit of something.
Just give me something.
Just give me something so I'm not like, my mind isn't so preoccupied with figuring out what's happening that I can actually think more about, like...
And you can enjoy the scene.
I can enjoy it a bit more, you know?
Because I think Thomas Pynchon is very postmodern in the sense that he's like, I'm telling this story and the enjoyment of the story is secondary to the experience of... to the emotional experience of what's happening here, right? Completely. It's less about like the gratification of the story as it is about being the character and living that emotional reality.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe in that sense, in the movie, he stayed too faithful to that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a very interesting viewing experience. I've not had one like that in a really long time. So I appreciate that, but there was elements that left me feeling a little bit frustrated. So I feel like I just need a tiny bit more of like something that's grounding it, so I'm not constantly thinking like, what's happening, you know, like,
I mean,
diluted the ending's impact for me. But
well, actually, I don't even know if the ending is even trying to be impactful. I don't even know.
No, that's
because
the thing. You don't...
because like the question being raised by the ending of The Assistant is quite pointed and it's very like clear.
Yeah.
But the question being raised about Inherent Vice, about Doc and Shasta, is almost like a what now?
Yeah.
Which is so hard to like answer, right?
It's so
what
hard
now?
to answer because you don't even know what just happened.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, I guess they're gonna go on to another adventure or journey.
But doesn't that like, I don't know, that intellectually, once I not when I watch it, right? But when I talk about it, I do feel moved because I'm like, yeah, this spirit of free love and like the kind of like heart of the sexual revolution, right? Not the like real political power, right? But the real emotion behind it just fizzled.
Yeah.
It went nowhere.
And I do get what you mean. I did feel moved by this element of like, we're all on somewhat pointless journeys, you know, and even if we think that we have a destination that we're heading to, we might get there and be like, well, what the fuck now?
Yeah.
And what was that even about? You know, like I feel like that every day of my life, you know.
Please.
But like, so maybe it hit a little bit too close to
maybe,
and that's what being in your 20s is like. You get to one point that you thought you were dying to get to, like in with Shasta, and then you're like, oh, that was nothing. So now what do I devote my life towards? It just feels very much like grasping at straws to try and have meaning and like a meaningless world, and something about that was like very like oof, you know. But also,
and both movies are about trying to make sense and figure out the morality of systems that are way beyond our control and our grasp. And I know this has gone on for so long, but I just, if you will allow me,
I'm not,
I just want to have a little kind of like detour to just kind of like acknowledge Thomas Pynchon was writing in the 60s. And I don't exactly know the year that the novel was written, but he lived through the things that are spoken about.
Yeah.
And it's just wild because, like, in my mind, he's like 20 years old. The man is 89.
Wow.
And I'm like, no, he's just 20. He's very recluse. Yeah. So you don't get to, like, know much about him. But I'm like, no, he's just vibing.
He's got a young brain. That's impressive.
Yeah. But anyway,
brainwashing?
It talks about brainwashing. It talks about these conspiracies and stuff. And I just want to point out how, like, conspiracies have absolutely devolved and become cannibalistic in the past 10 years. Because, I mean, back then, the conspiracy was like, what are people up to? Like, what is the FBI doing? I mean, at least the way, I know it's not in reality. I'll get back to that. But at least the way in the movie, it's like, what is the FBI up to? What is the Golden Fang up to? Oh, sorry, you're hungry?
No, it's fine.
Like, what is the FBI up to? What is the Golden Fang up to? What is Corey Harligan doing? Like, it's all about, like, who is doing what and stuff. Whereas the conspiracies we get now, the people who fall down the rabbit hole of conspiracies, it's all so dualistic about good and evil. It's all about, like, let's say that it's us and I'm a conspiracy theorist and you say something that kind of challenges that. I'm like, well, you said something that I don't agree, and I know that I'm not evil. I know that I'm good, which means that you must be evil.
Right.
So these conspiracies, I know that in the 60s there were these authors who were literally describing communism as evil, here to take your daughters away from you. I know that that's the case. But ever since QAnon, the conspiracies that we see today, there's no fun in that.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
There's no, like, understanding that that we have created these systems that are much bigger than any of us. And in some ways, we are all complicit in them. And yeah, I don't know.
I think the reason why, I think in the past, conspiracy theories were about explaining why bad things were happening, and now they're almost about excusing them or like diminishing them, you know, because
or
I
like
think we're
distancing
more I think we're more pessimistic and we're more used to tragedy on like a global scale. So instead of like trying to look for reasons as to why things are happening, like you look at when 9/11 happened and you look at the, you know, the Manson murders, and like people were so desperate to understand why such horrible things were happening that these conspiracy theories were being created. But nowadays you have people being like, here's my theory on why the Holocaust never happened, or here's my theory on like why 9/11 was fake, or like the moon landing, you know, things like that. People aren't understanding why things are happening. They're trying to like almost create new narratives to make it seem like they didn't happen because we've seen too much. You know, it's like there's been so much pain. It's like, let's pretend that these things didn't happen, you know? And it's like crazy that we've like switched. Oh, wait for that. It's crazy that we've switched from almost like, it's almost feels like it used to be more a compassionate thing of like, this thing is so horrible that we need to try and understand it, to being like the opposite of compassion and being like, well, let's just make fun of it because bad things are happening all the time, so why not? You know, it feels like that's
tough, dude. It's tough. The world that doesn't make sense, and conspiracies are, if you don't consume them with, oh my god, sorry. Conspiracies are tough, man. And if you engage with them and you don't consume them with any level of self-awareness or like keeping yourself in check, it will devour you.
Yeah.
It will eat you up, which is just scary.
Yeah.
Anyway, that aside, I just wanted to ask you if you had any last parting thoughts about Inherent Vice, because I know that it had been on your watch list for so long.
Yeah, I have two things. One, the fact that it's called Inherent Vice was confusing me in itself.
But they explained it.
But they do, but they don't. Okay, so what they say is that there's a marine policy, and inherent vice is something that's like not avoidable, you know. And I was like, for the rest of the film, I was like, okay, so what is PTA saying is the inherent vice of like this world? Is it like our need for truth? Is it like, or is
Wouldn't it be
drugs?
Thomas Pynchon?
Huh?
Wouldn't it be Thomas Pynchon, the author of the novel?
Yeah, I guess. But
anyway,
both,
you
know. I was like, okay, so what is the inherent vice of this world? Like, what is unavoidable? So that was like something that like really like was playing around in my head. And then the other thing was why she chooses this for brainwashing.
Why I chose it?
Yeah.
Well, because this is what happens in the Golden Fang. The Mickey and Shasta go, and they come back brainwashed.
Yeah.
But I actually feel like that's the same reason it's called Inherent Vice, because it talks about like in this setting, the Shasta was described as Inherent Vice by the Golden Fang when Mickey was taken. So Shasta was like the plus one, and it was like she's expendable. She's Inherent Vice. Like she could change, she could live, she could die. And that's just something that you just have to make your peace with it.
Yeah.
So it's like this person is just completely swallowed up. And when she gets back from the ship, it's like she's just completely distorted.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it reminded me of Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
In the sense that these people come back, but they're
not the same.
They're just completely different people. And my heart breaks for Shasta.
Yeah, the scene where she's like describing what happened to her and she's like so detached from it, and it's like she actually has been brainwashed, and she's like, because she's like trying to bait him into having sex with that whole thing, so it's like she's become convinced that that's her like.
And now that's when I go into conspiracies, because I'm like, what if she was taken and brainwashed and then delivered to Doc so that he would stop looking?
That's what I. That scene, that's what I thought about, the fact that he actually gives in and has sex with her. It's like she's being brainwashed into believing that like she is this like sex object, because that's what she says that she was used for by Mickey. Like she's just sleeping with his friends and like forced into it. And then he does the same like by having sex with her.
Yeah.
And it's like really, it's so weird because you don't know if it's like consensual or not. It's like really like icky and like murky.
When it comes to brainwashing, like what is consent?
Yeah.
And also, like, maybe she doesn't want to get with Doc so that she can keep, like, stringing him along. Not by choice, again, because she's brainwashed. But,
yeah.
And maybe the inherent vice is the change in people. Shasta grew up. And that's the problem. That's the inherent vice. Mickey woke up about what he was doing. And that's the inherent vice. It's damage that's going to happen no matter what.
Yeah.
And capitalism relies on all these people, just like in The Assistant. The system relies on all these people shutting up and doing it.
Yeah.
Literally in this case.
Literally. My God.
Anyway, that said, this movie really wanted me to... Watching Inherent Vice, I was like, I should grow my hair long.
Yeah, honestly, part of me was like really preoccupied with the fact that I was like, why am I really weirdly attracted to Joaquin Phoenix?
I was like, I just want to live in that town. Yeah. Gordita Beach, 1970.
I love this little office, like the doctor's surgery. Like, I was like, that's cool. Yeah.
And we spoke about it a little bit. Maya Rudolph, the only time so far, PTA and Maya Rudolph have collabed, and it was for that role.
I know. I thought that was so funny. She's his receptionist.
Last question, so that we can wrap it up. How would you suggest Inherent Vice to other people interested in PTA?
Would I suggest it?
Yeah, or like, would it be like a later film, introductory film, middle
Definitely
film?
not an introductory film. It definitely feels like the most like the outlier within his catalogue.
Yeah.
I think it's like I think it takes an enormous amount of like skill and composure and like restraint to be able to make something like that. Like in terms of like his choices and like just so masterful and like how he explores character and like the way he works with actors, like we were saying, like each person is like such a textured, lived in, interesting addition to this,
even
like,
if they just
tapestry.
show up for like one scene.
Even for one scene. Shout out Sasha. So yeah, but I would say like honestly, I'm absolutely baffled by it, and I think that that's so cool. You
Yeah.
know, I think that's
I
really
think
cool.
that's what the movie wanted to make.
Yeah.
It is a movie that it should be, I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly. So I think it's
Yeah.
an interesting
I
one.
cannot wait to share it more with our writers club because I feel like a lot of people haven't seen it.
Yeah, Taylor definitely has.
Oh, he has.
His review on Letterboxd is just the mind blowing emoji. So
Fair.
we can ask him about that.
Teva, shout out.
Shout out.